Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to create a native view in Expo React Native both for Android and iOS and embed that inside your app. Now if you don't know what a native view is, so suppose if I want to integrate some kind of a 3D model inside my app, there is no out of the box functionality in React Native or in Expo. I mean, you can do that, but most probably if you are doing some advanced stuff with 3D modeling and rendering that 3D, you will have to integrate some kind of a native code. Or suppose if you are creating a video editing app, then the default functionality which are available out of the box with React Native and Expo, that would be very limited. Even if you try third-party libraries, those would be very limited. So you should know how to create a native module using Expo. So let's get started on how to do this. So this is kind of like an introduction of how to create native views and embed it inside your Expo React Native app. In this we will be copying a lot of code from the documentation itself. I have also created one sample project for myself as a practice, so that in case I forgot some step I can copy paste it from that project to my code, but I will explain you each and every step, don't worry about that. So let's get started. So we will be integrating a web view which is created as a native module or a native view, and embedding that inside our Expo React Native project. Obviously this is kind of like an introduction. There are third-party libraries which are available which help us to integrate web view inside your Expo React Native application, but this is kind of like a starting point on how to get started. So firstly I have written down some steps. So first I'll create one Expo project. Now there are different templates for creating an Expo project, so I'll just show it to you quickly. So these are all the templates. I'm using this one because it creates a blank project for me, and and also it has TypeScript in it. So yeah, that's the advantage. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. So paste wherever you want to create your own project. Give it some name. I'll give it the name as my app 2. Name it whatever you feel like, then it should create a project for you. Now I'll quickly open that particular project, create a native view and embed it inside our Expo React Native project. We require two folders, Android and iOS folder. By default the template which we ran, so this one, the code, like this command which we ran, it creates an Expo Go project. We don't want an Expo Go project, we want to opt out of Expo Go project. So that's why what we'll do is, the next step is we'll have to go to this documentation. So I'll copy it. Here as you can see, the project does not have an Android and iOS folder, so we need to generate those Android and iOS folder first. So for that, go to this and firstly select Android, select the development build, and I have disabled this Expo EAS because we don't want to use this, it is a cloud service. Now I have already done this setup. So I have Watchman, I have this, I have installed Android Studio. If you haven't done already this, you will need all this stuff. So I have already done this, but if you already have all this stuff, then you just have to copy this particular command. I will just remove this. I will cd to my project which I have created. Okay, I'll just clear it out, and then I'll have to run this command. So firstly it installs the dev client for us. Okay, then we'll have to run this particular command. So even after running this particular command of Expo dev client, it will not create Android and iOS project for us. As you can see over here, to create the Android iOS project for us, for Android we have to run this. Now I don't have any Android emulators on my device because I usually test with the real Android device. Also my real Android device is not connected yet. So at the very last step, this particular command will run into error, which is fine. All we need to do is just create an Android folder. So here if you want, you can change the package name. I'll keep it as it is, and I'll click on create. So here you can see it has created this Android folder for us. Now let it run for a few minutes. It will add some other stuff as well, but at the very end it will run into error, which is fine. So here you can see it is saying no Android device connected. Yeah, that's fine. I want to run it at the very last. Then we'll have to run this particular command. So for iOS, if you haven't done the setup already, you will have to select iOS device, and here again I have turned this off, and then again install Xcode and all that stuff. I have already done all this. We have already ran this command for Android, so I will not run it again. We just have to run this particular command. So I will go and run this particular command again. So this will generate the iOS folder for us. Okay, so that might take little bit of time, so we'll just see what are the next step. Then we have to add a module, like a native module, to our existing application. For that I'll go to this documentation. So as you can see here, this is how we create a native module. So I'll copy this command, I'll go over here. So again, for my previous command, it is telling me add some bundle identifier. I'll keep it as it is. I'll just click on enter, and again it is creating the iOS directory for me. Okay, now this might take little bit of time because the CocoaPods install take a bit of time, but as you can see here, it has generated this iOS folder for us. So just be patient, wait for this CocoaPods to get installed, and once that is done, I'll come back. Okay, so once the CocoaPod install is done, it is telling me I have this particular simulator on my device. Do you want to run the app? I'll just see do Control C or Command C, and I don't want to run it now, so yeah, that's fine. Then we have to create our native module, right? So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. So it will create a native module for us. Now again it will ask us for some name. I'll keep things simple, so I'll just name it as my module. I don't want to add anything else. I'll just click enter, and it will create a native module for us. Now for iOS, we have to do pod install for creating a native module as well. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. I'll click on enter. Now again this might take little bit of time, so be patient. Alright, so in the meantime I'll tell you what we have to do. So open this particular tutorial and open it inside a new tab. So here we will be following this tutorial to create a native view for our Expo React Native project, but be careful. The problem with this documentation is that it tells us how to create a native view, not for an existing application but as a third-party package. So don't blindly follow this particular documentation. That's what that you need to be careful about. Okay, so okay, the CocoaPods installation is done. So here you can see that it has created this module for us. Okay, so I'll just open this modules. Let's go through this, but again be careful, we don't have to copy everything. So we have already done this, you don't have to do this. So if you remember, running this command creates a native module for us, so we don't have to run this again. Okay, we will not do this again. Okay, so here it says that create an module file, module.swift file for iOS and module.kt file. These files are already present, so don't create these files again. So if for Android, here you can see my module.kt, and if you scroll down here, it references a native view which is present over here. Okay, don't again do the same stuff. Then for iOS, here you can see we have this my module view Swift file, my module view Swift file, and this is the exact module file which references our Swift file. So we don't have to do this, we don't have to do this as well, we don't have to do this as well because we already have the index.txt file as well. Then okay, so this is telling, okay, we don't have to do this as well, ignore this as well. We don't have an example project, ignore this as well. Then this is the actual main thing. So here it is telling that create an WK web view. Okay, so what I'll do is, I have already created, I'll just close everything for now. Okay, so I'll firstly go to our iOS folder, and here you have to go to this particular module file. Okay, then what I'll do, so I will show you, I will copy some code from my practice project. It is similar to what they have done over here, it's just that I'm more comfortable with my practice project. So what I'll do is, I'll go to modules, my module iOS, and I have already written some code for that. So this is the file, right? So firstly it is telling import WebKit. Okay, same thing has been written over here as well. Then it is telling create all this stuff. So for displaying a web view in native iOS, you have to create a WK web view. So again I will just copy paste what already I have written. So I have pasted. So this is how you create a native module for embedding a web view inside inside Expo React Native. Now here you can see I have hard coded this URL. Suppose I don't want to hard code this URL on the Swift side, but I want to send this URL as a prop from React Native side. Okay, so for that we have to go to this particular file, my module.swift, and I will open mine as well. So this is my file, right? And if you see over here, it is already accepting a prop called name. We don't want the prop to be called as name, we want it to be called as URL. So what I'll do, I already have the code, so I'll just copy it. Oh sorry, I by mistakenly opened the Kotlin file. Make sure you open the Swift file. Okay, this one, my module.swift. So I'll just comment this out. I don't want this particular prop, I want my own prop, this one. So once I get the URL prop from React Native side, this is our view which we created, right? So I'll just close this, I'll close this as well just to avoid confusion. So this is our view name. Again the same thing over here as well, only the prop name has been changed to URL. So we will get the URL as a prop. Once we get the URL as a prop, it will be in form of string. We have to convert it into URL. That's how you convert it. Then I'm checking whether the prop which is been sent, or the URL prop which is been sent, is already equal to the URL prop which we have. So suppose I'm sending abc.com from React Native side, and here I am also loading abc.com, then it doesn't make sense to reload our native module or re-render our native module. So that's why I'm added this check over here. If it is different, then we create a URL request, and then we just call view.webview. So this is the web view. Okay, view is this particular view, right? Inside that we have this web view variable. That's how we are accessing it. .load is a method which is present for WK web view, and we just pass our URL request. Now we have to make few changes as well. So if I show you, I'll just go to my code again. I'll open index.ts. Okay, not in index.ts. I will have to open src, then I'll have to go to my module view.tsx. Okay, this seems fine to me. Then this one, I guess, yeah, here. So here is the name prop which is coming, which was previously defined, right? So if you remember, here we had the name prop, but we don't want name, we want URL. So I will replace inside our my module.types.ts, I'll replace this with URL. And here I want one more thing, which I will tell you shortly, something called view props. Is it view props or something else? Let me quickly check. Yeah, view props, this one. This is required because so suppose when we import this native view on React Native side or Expo side, we want to apply some stylings as well, right? So that's why this view props is required. Otherwise, even if you don't write this view props, it's fine, but TypeScript won't be happy with that. So to make TypeScript happy, we have to write that. Oh, and here it should be only 1% view props, and you will have to import it from React Native. So something like this. Okay, so this is done. So if I go to the documentation again, where were we exactly? So we were over here, right? So we have already done this part. We'll come to the Android part later. Okay, here it tells how to add a prop, URL prop to our Swift file. We have already done this, and here it tells us you will have to change this, which we have already done. Now we can import it inside our app.tsx file. So I'll just add something like this. Hopefully my IntelliSense works. Okay, I will add /module/my module. Okay, and here it should be my module view. Okay, because that was the name I have given. Now what I'll do is I'll just remove this, okay, and here I'll just paste it over here. Now here it is telling me an error because I need the URL prop. Now I will just enter google.com. That's fine. Change the URL to whatever you feel like, but we also require some styling. Now here is the important part, another important part. In styling they say that use flex1, but flex1 is not working for me. I don't know why. Maybe by the time you try it, it might work for you. Maybe it is an Expo bug, but I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. But what I'll do is that I will use the use window dimensions hook to get the width and height of my device, and that I will pass it to our styles. So here I can write something like width comma height. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So that my web view occupies the entire width and height. So this is done for iOS. I will come back to Android now. So I'll just scroll up. So here you can see this is the Android view code. I'll just copy it from my practice project. It's the same thing, don't worry too much about it. I'll go to src main. This is my practice project, Expo modules, my module. Okay, I'll just open my module view.kt. okay, ignore this. So I'll just copy this code. I'll go to my module view.kt. okay, I'll just open it in the split down way so that I can see my practice project as well. So here firstly I have to add this curly bracket, then I'll paste this. This is the same thing which has been given in the documentation, only they have added this internal. I don't like this internal. If you want you can use it, don't make it private because we need to access it from other file as well, this particular web view. Also I will copy paste this imports, so we don't have so we will require these two imports, right? Yeah, we don't require this text view import and context compat. This was just part of my debugging, so ignore those for now. Okay, so this is done. Just move it over here. So this is done. Now again we'll have to accept a prop, right? So for that again I'll go to my module. Here you can see it is name, it should be URL, right? So I'll just comment this out. I don't want to. Okay, I'll just rename it URL. I'll go to my module kt. This is my practice project again. I'll just copy paste it. So here it's the same thing. Only thing is we have changed this to URL. It is of type string, and then we call this particular web view which has been defined it over here. So view is our this particular class, right? My module view. So this particular class, it has this web view component. Dot load URL method is present for a web view, and we just pass our URL. One more thing which I want to clarify is, if you see the prop thing here, they are using it as URL, but in my case I'm using it as string. This does not make any sense to me because in TypeScript there is no data type as called URL. You can only send data in form of string, numbers, primitive data types, right? So I don't know how they are able to access this URL directly. So if you see, both in my Android I'm using it as string, as well as in my iOS part. If I show you the iOS part, here you can see I'm using it as string. So I don't know how they are able to use directly as URL. It didn't make any sense to me. If you know how they are able to do that, do let me know in the comments, because here they are taking it as string. I didn't get that. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's it for Android as well. So I'll quickly run the project and see if there is any error. So we have already run this. Okay, so to run the project, firstly we'll have to start our Metro bundler. So npx expo start, or you can directly run this. Make sure you have connected your device. In your case, in emulator or simulator is fine as well. You can directly run this command if you want to. If you're running it on emulator, you don't need this, I guess. But yeah, just run it however you want inside your project, and I'll quickly show you guys the output once the output is ready. Okay guys, so as you can see on the iOS simulator, this is the output for iOS. So our web view is occupying the entire width and height of the device. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is the output on a real Android device. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.